Oh, it's time for one of my rants. Long-winded video incoming. I hope you're ready, because I'm not taking it easy on this guy. Holy crap. So I've been reading this article. I'm going to read over it. I'm going to react to it in real time because it's how I roll. So I want to read some of this though. So the soapbox features and I don't know how they're wording this are individual writers and contributors to voice their opinions on hot topics and random stuff they've been chewing over. Chewing over? What? Today, Gavin ponders his instinctual desire for backwards compatibility, and why perhaps you blew it. Compatibility and why perhaps it's really not needed this time around. This is going to be long. Hang in. I'm going to try and go through this quickly. And for comedic effect, I'm going to read this in an English accent because I'm pretty sure this dude is English. I'm very sure of it. So here we go. And it's going to be a bad English accent. It's going to be very bad. It's going to be a very bad British take. So I'm sorry. Not sorry. Um, so here we go. Let's start reading from the top. Ah, first things first, I would love Switch 2 to be backwards compatible. In an ideal world, I'd love every new Switch to be compatible with the last and prior generations too. Every time a new console rolls around, my backlog of previous Jenners, only somebody from the UK would use the word Jenners. Oh my god, gets buried beneath another layer of digital, I don't know why I'm saying it, digital, because sometimes they don't even use the T, like they skip over the T. Digital dust, but before getting lost altogether in the swell of shiny new games in the shiny new system. On the shiny new system, there's a huge peace of mind, but mind benefit to being able to pack up my old console knowing that I could still play all its games on the new hotness. However, as fresh rumors surrounding the Switch successor emerge freshly churned from the rumor mill on a weekly basis, I find myself realizing that Nintendo's next console really doesn't need backwards compatibility. In fact, it needs it less than any previous Nintendo console and perhaps any console ever. No, you're wrong. You're wrong, but let's keep going. The ability to play GameCube games on Wii or Wii games on Wii U made upgrading a marginally easier decision. But the reality is that I would have gotten the new systems eventually. Regardless, regardless. For lifelong gamers, convenience and peace of mind are. I sound like that guy that used to talk about lifestyles of the rich and famous. Convenience and peace of mind are the two main reasons we care so much about still being able to access previous gen games on our new systems. The peace of mind that we'll still have direct and immediate access to our existing library without the inconvenience of digging out the old consoles or worrying if it still works. You just made the case for why we should have backwards compatibility on the new console, the new Nintendo console, whatever it may be called. I hope it's the Super Nintendo Switch. Everybody's saying Super Switch. No, Super Nintendo Switch. And I want it to be a gray color with the colorful buttons and everything, just like the original Super Nintendo. Just do that for me, please. Do that for me. They're not going to do it. Being able to trade in old hardware for new can be a significant factor in jumping into the next generation. Two, what? And then dash. Why would you write it that way? Generation two. I'm certainly not dismissing that. And for big home consoles with a price tag of $500 plus, maybe he's not British. He's putting that there instead of a pound. Maybe he's not English. I just know a lot of English. There were at one point there were a lot of people from the UK that are. I know there were UK people working at Nintendo Live, and they have an accent, and so that's why I'm assuming. But here's the funny part: it might not even they might not even be like English. They could be Scottish, or they could be from Ireland. You never know in that part of the world. You never know what you're getting. And here I am sitting here doing an English accent. I'm probably completely wrong in the English accent, but it's fun, so let's keep going. It's an even more serious consideration, and that's ignoring the sheer space requirements to keep a PS5 or Xbox Series X set up in your entertainment center alongside a new system. Those things are bloody enormous. He's right. I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here for a second. He's right. And they're also ugly as hell and boring looking as hell. Look, I have a Sega Saturn. I've had people walk in and see the Sega Saturn and going, they've never seen one before. They never even knew of a Sega Saturn. They weren't born in that decade. They don't know. And they would walk up and go, "What is that? That looks so awesome." It draws attention. It draws eyes. It's not plain looking. Like, I feel like the look of a console fucking matters. So it draws attention from people who never played with. He's looking at it, it's like, why does it look so futuristic? And I go, it's actually an old console. It's the Sega Saturn. And they're like, I've never heard of that. And then I'll go into a whole spiel about it, explain it to him. And he goes, well, what happened? Because they'll also see my Super Nintendo. They'll see any other console I have from the old days sitting in my house. And they'll be like, why does my Xbox look like a refrigerator? And I go, ask Microsoft. Their design, their design approach is just terrible. Their naming approach is terrible. A lot of consoles nowadays need better designs. Now, the PlayStation 5 has an interesting design, don't get me wrong. It is very interesting looking, but it's not really a futuristic look. It's just a weird arco arco deco whatever artistic looking console. It's not really retro futuristic. Like, they could have easily made like the Xbox One X looks like a fridge. They could have easily like had like these indention of like cybernetic designs on them and fake vents. Like, it didn't have to have real vents on the side. It just had these fake like in protruding vent looking patterns. Like, just anything to make the damn thing look like more than a fucking refrigerator. It could have looked like some kind of cybernetic really cool console, and instead it looks plain. Don't even get me started on the leaked image of the, I think it's leaked, new image of the next Xbox, the discless Xbox Series X that they're working on. It looks like a fucking garbage can. It's a round cylinder black thing. It looks like an Alexa or something, extended, tall, and fat. It's just, it's ugly. It's ugly. What is with these ugly designs of these consoles? Like I said, I was going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here about the designs of these consoles. I personally think it's very, 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 very important that a console stands out and looks cool. If somebody doesn't have a console, they maybe haven't been keeping up, you want it to draw their eyes to it. I have somebody come over and visit me. You want their eyes to be drawn to it and be like, what is that? I can guarantee you, no anyone who hasn't who maybe didn't see an Xbox when it came out, if they had saw the little freaking even the Xboxes before that that just looked like a fucking VCR. If they had saw it, they would have just thought it was a VCR because it looks so plain and boring. All these consoles look so stupid and boring and plain. Oh, at least the Switch had this distinction of looking very unique sitting inside its dock. When somebody comes in and sees the Switch, if they maybe hadn't seen a Switch before, hypothetically speaking, they would have saw the Switch and they would have went, that looks cool. But everything else is big, bulky, ugly. God, just don't even get me started. Anyhow, he is right. They're enormous and they're ugly. They're ugly. He didn't say ugly, but I'm saying they're ugly. Let's keep moving on. However, the more obsessive gamers among us are more likely to keep our old consoles, and keep your trusty Switch in a state of readiness is an easier ask than those bulky home consoles. You're making the case for it. Every time you say something, you're making the case of why we should have it. So you're going to say we shouldn't have backwards compatibility, or that you don't think it's necessary, but then you make the case for it turn after turn. You're not really making a case for why we shouldn't have it. You're making a case for why we should have it. What bulky home consoles, I needn't worry about airflow or finding space or connecting cables. Worst case scenario, I pick it I pick it out of the drawer and charge it for a while. Those are not going to last forever either. They've got components in it that are just going to go. My question is how long are the Switch cartridges going to last? I don't know if those are made to last very long. That's going to suck. That is going to suck. Like, I bought it, I paid the money for it, I should be able to access it off the cartridge. I'm just saying. Uh, from Nintendo's point of view, the benefits of implementing Switch game compatibility, even if the rumored Nvidia chip on board, the new system makes it feasible and relatively simple, may not outweigh the potential cons. Yes, you get a comforting selling point for the box that'll go down particularly well with the parents. Although out of the box, you say out of the box company that'll selling point for the whatever. All those expensive games you bought still work, no sweat. That's it. You're making the case. How are you sitting there making a great case for it of why we should have the backwards compatibility? How we should be able to play past games on the new console? You're making the point for it. You're making the fucking point for it. But you're saying we don't need it. But you're making all the cases for why we should have it. What the hell is wrong with you? Are you stupid? Shaking up magical 8 ball. What does it say? Is he stupid? Signs point to yes. You're stupid. Are you that out of touch? All those expensive, but cutting technical ties with the previous platform helps establish. I'm very drooly today. Why am I? Wow. Ugh. Previous platforms helps establish the new system as its own thing. Nintendo would be desperate not to confuse people as it did with the Wii U. The naming convention and the way they presented it was the problem, okay? Having backwards compatibility isn't gonna fucking confuse anyone. If they name it just right, nobody will be fucking confused. Are you fucking stupid? Are you absolutely fucking retarded? What is wrong with you? Brain matter everywhere. Holy shit. Oh my god. Perhaps more relevant to Nintendo's bottom line and the firm's overall approach to hackers and homebrew. Oh boy, here we go. Any potential avenue to piracy will be locked tight on the Switch too. No, well, people will figure out a way. You give it fucking time. Give it fucking time. The original Switch that launched in 2017 was replaced by a revision incorporating the updated chip found in the Lite and OLED models due to an exploit discovered by hackers. Essentially, an unpatchable vulnerability in the NVIDIA chipset itself. The flaw blew the doors open for system security very early in its life cycle. I'm not doing the accent very well now. It's just falling apart. I'm gonna cut it out. The updated SKUs, I'm not going to call it a SKU, even though I just kind of did. I hate that word. SKUs fixed the issue, but the damage was done, and videos of Nintendo games running in 4K on PC, sometimes before they're even publicly available on Switch, are now par for the course. If there's any chance whatsoever that backwards compatibility could prove useful to hackers and pirates, Nintendo simply won't include it in the next system. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Like you just said, it was the chip itself. Okay? That vulnerability is not going to fucking exist. Making something to where it can play old games isn't the same as having like the old code that just runs the system itself and runs internet shit and all that other shit. Plus, you also kind of made the case again for why backwards compatibility on the new console would be great. Because he said Nintendo the Switch games running at 4K on PC. Imagine running a Switch game on the new console at 4K and how glorious that would fucking look. I'm just saying. Oh my god. My brain hurts, people. My brain hurts. Par for the course, if any chance whatsoever that backwards compatibility could prove useful to hackers and pirates into the next system. This one's great here. If I really want to go back to Astral Chain, and I do, well, I can just grab my OG Switch. Fuck me. And then, of course, there's the ability to sell us last gen games all over again. Hey, it worked for this gen with Wii U games, and Sony did nicely milking The Last of Us 3 times in 9 years. Yeah, but you're making a. There's pros and there's cons, and you're presenting the cons. Nobody should have to buy a new game all over again just to make it look better. That's just a horrible. That's an anti-consumer move, in my opinion, having them resell the same fucking games over and over again. Plus, Nintendo isn't quite them. Like, they could still resell it and do some really cool stuff with it. You know? They could still do that. This isn't preventing it, because all it's probably going to do is upscale the games and make them look a little more crisp, make them maybe run a little less janky, better frame rates, better frames per second. Jesus Christ. So why not again? In reality, I'm not convinced Nintendo would take this path of diminishing returns. They would, they could, they probably will. The Wii U ports this generation were a direct result of the console's commercial failure, and even the most cynical among us would likely concede that the steady stream of deluxe upgrades have given new life to games that deserved more attention than they got originally. Yeah, but here's the thing. That was out of kind of a little bit of a necessity, because there was no way you were going to pop a disc into the Switch, you idiot. There was no way that was going to happen. Are you stupid? Oh, what is wrong with you, dude? Again, I don't know this person personally. I don't hate them. But if I think you're being a dumbass, I'm going to call you a dumbass. This guy's a dumbass. All right? I almost feel like using that thumbnail of a Red Foreman sitting there going, "You're a dumbass. Prove me wrong." Or something like that. Oh my God, Alexa. Tell me you're a dumbass without directly saying you're a dumbass. What? Oh, sure. So, I mean, he's fine to have his opinion. You can have this opinion, but my opinion is you're fucking wrong, and you're really convoluted. This whole piece feels like it was written to convince us of why there shouldn't be backwards compatibility. Oh yes, let's try and convince the masses that there shouldn't be backwards compatibility. That way Nintendo doesn't have to bother with it. And they can make all this money in the world and blah blah blah, blah and just wring out every dime and whatnot. God, stupid. Sure as hell, where was I? Ports generation direct results of console's failure, blah blah blah. Steady stream of deluxe upgrades. Sure, Zelda Breath of the Wild Deluxe on Switch 2 would sell, but it's hardly compatible with the company's MO to surprise and delight. I had a Wii U and they made an HD version of Wind Waker, so the fuck are you on? It's hardly compatible with the company's MO. Then why wouldn't they just have backwards compatibility? You are still making the case for backwards compatibility, even when you're trying to say there shouldn't, that backwards compatibility isn't needed. What the fuck is wrong with you? And I think we can all agree that Breath of the Wild got its dues. It sold over 30 million copies and counting. With the Switch now over halfway into its 7th year, many of us have upgraded and have multiple Switches in the house. That doesn't fucking mean anything. Doesn't fucking mean anything. And I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but does anybody here remember going from the PlayStation to the PlayStation 2? Do you remember that you were able to go before you started the game up, like before you put the disc tray in or whatever, you could hit a button, you could go into these settings, you could change the texture, you could turn on texture filtering for everything. You could turn on the texture filtering and you could speed up the disc read. That would enhance the games. Nintendo should do the same thing using DLSS. And there's nothing keeping third-party developers from releasing what is it called? Downloadable content, DLC, for those games they've already got on the Switch. There's nothing stopping that, you know? So if they want to milk it more, they still can. I don't know. They just like taking the easy way out, take the exact same game, make it look better, give it to people. It's fucking stupid. Unlike its bulky home console brethren, the rigmarole and inconvenience of digging out are digging one of these out to play some Breath of the Wild is negligible. You're full of shit. As great as it would be, I really don't need to be able to play Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, or Smash Bros. Ultimate on my Super Switch. I would imagine that the retro games currently accessible through the Nintendo Switch Online will transfer over to the new platform in some form, if not in their entirety. I'm sure we'll get a convoluted Nintendo style solution, but maintaining the value of the subscription service will be essential, and that substantial catalog of retro games, uh, retro gems, is a simple way to deliver continuity along that peace of mind we're all chasing. I am not going to keep letting them up the price for their online service just to add in last generation console, or Switch games. You are stupid. Oh, albeit via subscription service would be shut down at any moment. That would be shut down at any moment. So you're making the case again for backwards compatibility. Why do you keep making the case for backwards compatibility and then saying stupid shit? Oh my god. Oh, it's not needed. You're full of shit. In fact, perhaps the biggest reason for Switch 2 backwards compatibility uh, is that Metroid Prime 4 runs on the thing. We don't know anything. It's not out yet. It could be out before the year's over. And it's for the Switch. And it'll have to be played on the Switch too with backwards compatibility. We don't know. It's not time yet. The new Switch, whatever it is, we really don't know. We only have rumors to go on. So you don't know. Shut up. Although that's assuming that it's still a Switch project. This whole thing is a fucked article. Like it's an opinion piece, but whatever. Personally, and I think many Metroid fans would feel the same, I hope that the project has shifted platforms to take advantage of additional power. But there may be Switch owners disappointed that a game announced so long ago isn't coming to the console. Would Switch 2 exclusivity stop Prime fans from playing Metroid Prime 4? Most almost certainly not. But having apologized for restarting development, Nintendo has form of what is that? Nintendo has form in delivering big games that bookend. What the fuck? What do you on console life cycles? Maybe I'm just a dumbass and I don't understand that. But and there's nothing. Why did I go down like this? I could have kept my mic here. What's going on here? Eyeing Switch, blah blah blah. Deal breaker even before. That's Gavin. Oh yeah, he's definitely a Brit. He is definitely a Brit. Gavin loves a bit of couch co-op, especially when he gets to delegate roles, bark instructions, and give much appreciated performance feedback at the end. Wait, okay, so he's not. He lives in Spain. I mean, he could be. He could if he's in Spain, he could still be English. But I did that with an English accent. I feel like I should have done it with a Spanish accent now at this point. And he got ratioed to hell and back. They got ratioed to hell and back on Twitter. Oh my absolute God. Help me, Jesus. Help this person to see the light. What the fuck? All right. All right. Oh wow. So no, this person is dumb. I had to go on that tangent. I had to do that. I had to record that video. Had to. This had to be done. I had to rant. I had to get it out. And I've had people say, I like your rant videos. All right, well, here you are. It's about 24-ish, 20 something minutes long, but here you are. I hope you're happy. If you want more, I'll make more. Let me know in the comments section below. And until then, have a good one.